All right, let's get ready for level 2. In this particular one, I introduce a new concept called a variable. A variable is used when you want something to be able to change, specifically when you want a value to be able to change. I also used a math block, which is pretty simple. It's just using some math. So let's take a look at what I did here. I started off with my start, but then I had to choose a variable. So now I'm going into data operations, which are red, and I will take the variable. I'm going to take it out here. I'm going to connect it, and to start with a variable, you have to write to it, and I'm going to just do a new one. So I'm going to make a new variable called speed1. So now in essence, I have something. They have a suitcase as a picture to help you remind it. Something where I'm storing a value. In this particular case, that value is 0. I know it's 0 because I just wrote 0 to it. Your other options here are you can read any of these or write any of these. I wrote a numeric called 0. Then I started a loop. And remember, I like to take my loops out ahead of time. And from here, I'm going to put some things in the loop. I now want to read what that variable says. And in this case, we know that variable says 0. Reading looks like a book. There's a little book right there. Read that, and I'm reading not speed, I'm reading speed 1. The reason I wrote 1 here is so you guys can see that this is different than the program I already did up here. And then I'm taking out the math block. It says math. And what I want to do is I'm using a wire. This is some of the stuff you can't do on the iPad. Taking that wire over here. And now the numbers that this is going to add is whatever that variable is. And if you remember, it's 0 right now. But then I'm going to add 20 to it. And now that I've changed it, I have to then write a new variable. Now the variable is 20 because 0 plus 20 equals 20. And then it's pretty much the same as the last program. I'm going to wait for a touch, and I'm going to start going a little bit faster here because you've already seen this. On port 2, then I'm going to read my speed. So I'm going to take the variable out. That should say speed 1, and this time I'm going to read that speed. Excuse me, pop you over here. I'm going to read that speed, and I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, let's now move that slapper up and down. But what we're going to do is we're going to move it up and down, not at 50. We're going to move it up and down at speed. And that speed 1 is going to be 20 to start off with. Oops, you go over here. Now we want to change it to degrees, just like the last one. We want it to go down for 130 degrees. And we want it to come back up for 130 degrees. But this time it's going to be at speed 20. So the first time it does this, that's pretty slow. You can push that button and get your hand out easily. But let's watch. I'm going to change this to a count loop, and the count is going to be 5. So let's start from the beginning. Write the number 0 to speed 1. Read the number 0 from speed 1. Put it in a math block. Add it to 20. Take that sum and write it to speed 1. 0 plus 20 equals 20. Push the touch sensor, read from speed 1, throw that slapper down at speed 20 for 130 degrees, bring that slapper up, negative 130, I caught a mistake. Bring that slapper up at 130. Now do it a second time. Remember, We're inside the loop. We're not going back here. So now we're reading from speed 1, but speed 1 is now 20. 20 plus 20 is now 40. Write it to speed, push the button, read it from speed, slap down at 40, slap up at 40. Do it again. Write 40. 40 plus 20 is 60. Write 60. Push the button, slap down at 60, slap up at 60. Do it again. 60. 60 plus 20 is 80. Push the button, read the 80, slap down at 80, slap up at 80. Do it again. 80. 80 plus 20 is 100. Write 100. Push the button, read 100, slap at 100, up at 100. Boom! I have used a variable and a math block to increase the speed each time by 20. That is level 2 using variables and math blocks.